G'day ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to the Buttsman Premium people. It's great to have you on board, and I promise you this, the money that you have donated to this worthy cause with a worthy beard will not be spent in, I don't know, in a bad way. But I'll tell you what it will do. It will provide you with hours of entertainment of this fucking melon, and I'll tell you something else. You're going to enjoy it, all right? We're not going to be one of those people that go, oh, you're going to get bonus content and give you fucking nothing. No, motherfucker, no, all right? We're going to give you good shit for your purchase. All right, now, on with the video. It is said that when a horrible event takes place, an atrocity, a barbaric occurrence of wickedness and savagery, that the area where it happened is forever tainted. Strangers, people without any prior knowledge of what happened in that location, have a feeling of sadness, of doom, of destruction whenever they're in it. People say they feel it on the battlefields of Gettysburg and inside the gas chambers of Auschwitz. This video right here is about a location where I and my mates had that feeling. A feeling of something is wrong. Something is terribly, terribly wrong. We walked into an area where we felt that someone at some point had felt pain, had been tortured, that a violent, malevolent feeling echoed through the air. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my investigation into Australia's most haunted road and the phantom hitchhiker who walks it. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we take part 2 into our investigation of Jenny Dixon Beach. Now we move to the graveyard and to the road nearby. If you don't know anything about Jenny Dixon Beach, I implore you to go and check out part 1 of this video about Australia's most haunted beach. It is terrifying, but basically this beach is adjacent to a lighthouse that was put there because so many people died in that one terrifying area. Over the past 2 centuries, that place has turned into literally an underwater graveyard, full of hauntings and terror and things that go bump in the night. But it's not just the ghost of a woman that haunts that area looking for her baby, in clothing from the 1800s with fear and terror on her face. No, it's much more than that. You see, there is a story of a phantom hitchhiker with a bloody past. Ghostly figures standing in the middle of the road. And this really creeps me out. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Figures to the point, right? This is genuine stories where even a police officer, and this has happened to several other people, but a police officer, you're probably more likely to believe this story, had pulled over to let this person into their car to give them a lift. They drive past the Noraville Cemetery, and the person in the back seat of a police car, notoriously difficult to get out of, I imagine, is gone. This phantom spirit got into someone's car and disappeared. The story until now has been a mystery, but I think we may very well have come across the person who this tormented spirit, and it is a full-on story, may belong to. But I say that with the benefit of hindsight, because originally we had no idea what happened here. We were told by the ghost grannies, our guides, nothing. They just told myself, Little Dixon, and Bluey Nielsen to walk up to a grave in a graveyard and see what we felt. Okay, so we're in a cemetery at the moment, and Renata's standing here freaking out. As a medium, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah, just starting to make a lot of connections.
Sure.
Making a lot of connections.
Okay, well, you want to get out of here pretty quick? That's the feeling?
No, well, sometimes the longer you are in places like this, the more the story develops.
Sure.
I'm
probably just has a queue of people trying to give her information.
Yeah.
Right.
So we want to tune in on some specific ones that are here.
Yes.
All
We've got 2 beautiful souls that you need to.
So you're going to send me to a grave?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and you'll tell me why later?
Yes.
Yeah, because we want you to meet them now, because we're going to learn their story as the evening goes on.
Okay, well, let's go and meet them, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
This is it.
This is it. This is Grace, Dorothy, and Kathleen Beryl, 11 and 17 years old.
Fuck.
Died on the 29th of August, 1950. We're just going to lay some flowers on your grave, and yeah, we come here with respect, and I mean, it's hard to know what to say, but hello, I'm Isaac, this is Josh and Claire, and Stuart, the cameraman's just behind us, and would you like to lay them? I don't know, it's very strange being in a graveyard. You don't know where to walk. I always, when I come into one, I try and be respectful and say hello to everyone who's here. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I don't know if that's silly.
I think it's the right thing to do.
100%. Yeah. I think you've got to be, like, super respectful. Like,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
People's resting place, people's families and stuff, so...
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Like I say, I think you're right to feel probably a bit self-conscious about it.
And I mean, where the graves we were just at, they're 70 years old.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of graves around here that are very, very fresh, and
Yeah.
a lot of young people have passed away here, so I think that the respect is very, very important
100%.
whilst we are in this area.
100%.
That really gives me the chills. I don't know what this story is going to take a turn to, but I don't like where it's starting.
Yeah.
The story I'm about to tell is just plain awful. The story begins in 1950. Eleanor and Clarence Holmes decide after 2 world wars to make the move from London to Australia. It's a huge change. A change from a war-ravaged London to a sunny Sydney. It wasn't just them. They had quite a large family. They had 2 boys, Doug and Frank, and their daughters, Grace and Kathleen. From Sydney, they found themselves happy and settled in a town called Toukley. They were a happy family. They were peaceful. They finally realised the Australian dream and found their slice of this great country. It was all going great until one sunny afternoon. At around 1:30 p.m, Kathleen and Grace decided to leave the family home, heading for a walk to the Nora Head Lighthouse. If we can fast forward just a touch to 1:30 a.m, the next morning, the Holmes family contacted the police because Grace and Kathleen never came home. After an intensive search by volunteers and the police force, the bodies of Grace and Kathleen, aged 17 and 11, were found face down in a swamp, dead. The swamp was known at the time as the Jungle. These 2 young girls who were looking for a new life in Australia had their lives ended by a monster, or monsters. They had been beaten so viciously that their faces were unrecognisable, according to the media at the time. It is believed by police that Kathleen died first and Grace, the older sister, died trying to save her. A fisherman by the name of William Birtle was charged and later acquitted with the crime. This is a horrible murder, a horrible tragedy, an atrocious event that took place that changed the lives of not only the town folk, but obviously the family as well. And to make it worse, the murderer is right now still at large. So could it be the spirits of Grace or Kathleen that haunt this area, looking for answers, justice perhaps? Or could it be a whole nother case altogether? Because their story isn't the only tragedy that took place at this exact spot. A few decades after Grace and Kathleen's death, a young female was walking, hitchhiking after work along Wilfred Barrett Drive. 5 young men pulled up in a car. She got in. Immediately she felt nervous and worried and concerned and anxious. No doubt, you can imagine why. And her worry was justified. This choice to get into that car with these strangers would prove to be a deadly mistake. She was physically attacked and raped by some of these men, or all of these men, and left for dead on Jenny Dixon Beach. She lived long enough to tell her father that her soul wouldn't rest until the men who did this horrible, horrible thing to this young lady were held accountable. No one was ever charged with this crime, although people had their suspicions. There was a particular group of 5 young men that everyone in the area thought were the perpetrators of this horrible crime. Strangely though, they weren't charged, but all their lives ended. The first of the men killed himself, hung himself, because he was being haunted. This is what he told people, that he was being haunted, and that's why he ended his own life. Another was killed in a car crash, the only one in the car. Before he died, he claimed that he swerved because he saw someone standing in the middle of the road, but no one else was nearby. The third drove a car off a cliff because an apparition had been tormenting him. The fourth ran his car off an embankment on the Pacific Highway. Why? He told people that he picked up a hitchhiker on Wilfred Barrett Drive, who disappeared in the back of the car, and the people who he told this story to him ridiculed him so much, they teased him, that he ended up killing himself. All of these stories are just like the fifth man, who ended it all with a shotgun to the mouth because he was being haunted. That should freak you a little bit the fuck out. But also, if what they're being accused of by this spirit is true, then these pricks fucking deserved it. People in the area have reported seeing this hitchhiker on the side of the road for a long time now. Even a doctor who was on holiday in the area had no idea about the whole story, pulled over, picked someone up, looked in the rear vision mirror, and they were gone.
One night about 20 years ago, I was driving a taxi and I picked up a fare from Central Coast Leagues Club. About 2:30 in the morning. We come up towards this bridge and there was nothing around. We were the only 2 people in the car, and we were the only car on the road. And we come up to the bridge, and I was just about to cross the bridge, and all of a sudden, in the headlights, on the left-hand side of the guard, was a lady with a long blonde hair on like an Arabian coloured horse, a light browny coloured horse.
Right.
And next to it, a red cattle dog. It was that quick, and it was that close to the car, you didn't have time to brake, didn't have time to swerve. We just braced for an impact.
Yeah.
Somehow we missed it, and I remember seeing the figure of the horse, as we passed it. We pulled up just past the other side of the bridge just to say, look, what are you doing riding a horse in the middle of the dark and blah, 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 blah. And nothing there.
Well, mate, it seems that the Central Coast is very haunted.
Yeah.
And not just with doll bludgers.
No. Can you tell through the camera that this is a bridge? Okay, well this is where we saw the girl on the horse with the dog, and when you look here, there's nowhere she could have gone but straight across the bridge.
It's interesting, seeing a horse. I mean, there's a lot of horse stables around here too, so maybe that's why there's a lady on a horse. There's a couple of cattle dogs getting around, so maybe that's the... But I don't know, you could have just been someone on a fucking horse, but there seems to be a lot of apparitions all over the world that seem to be exactly the same, but this seems a bit different. You never really hear about a ghost horse. It's always like horses, people from the 1800s, it's never fucking... There's never a ghost velociraptor at the end of your bed, you know? It's always like some scary lady from back in the day. It's never like a fucking Tyrannosaurus or a Brontosaurus just walking through the bush. So let's drive along Wilfred Barrett Drive and see if we can find this phantom hitchhiker. And this is the place where everyone sees this lady in white. And she's standing in the middle of the road, and people talk about they pick up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker is in the back of the car. They're really quiet, they're quite muffled, they don't really say anything, and then as they go around the next bend, they're gone. They seem to only exist for a short period of time leading up to the cemetery. So that's horrifying. But thankfully, there's 4 of us in the car right now, so we're pretty good.
That's one fucking shit net, because once we're done here tonight, I'm driving back to Newcastle by myself.
Yeah.
So yous are all driving together, and I'm fucking one out in my little Honda Gets.
Just do not look in the rear vision mirror.
Oh,
because
mate.
that's where the eyes will be staring back at you.
Oh, fuck. I'm like genuinely like a little, like hanging out in fuck near a cemetery and that. Like I'm a little bit uneasy about
It is. It's dead, of course. Absolutely. It'd be weirder if you weren't.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do now is take you down Wilfred Barrett Drive. Now, the apparition seems to appear between the cemetery that you're in earlier today and the Magenta Shores turn-off. So, one at a time, in the back seat of the car, we're going to put a REM pod next to you because the apparition is supposed to appear in the back seat with you.
Right.
We want you to tell us whatever you're feeling. So if you think of a name or you pick up on an emotion or if you get that, anything, goosebumps, anything at all, just say, I feel that here. So we're going to note where each one of you have any sort of sensations.
Sure.
Don't compare notes when you get back.
No.
And we'll see if we get any correlation like we did with Lochinvar House.
Cool, let's do it then.
It says dictionary.
Yeah, a little bit apprehensive. Yeah, it was a bit, when we did the Isaac, I don't think Isaac and I did a particularly good job when it was just us, but when we were all together, did that like opening ceremony on the beach, I felt quite uneasy. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, so we'll see how we go.
You've got it. You've got this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You look terrified. I just looked at your eyes in the rear.
Yeah, I feel really anxious.
Yeah, your eyes are wide. You look like you're in a state of panic.
Yeah, I feel anxious. Like, yeah.
What sort of anxiety is it?
I don't know. It's just like that hot, like that tight, hot feeling at the back of your neck.
Does it feel like you? I don't want to put words into your mouth.
No, I feel like a bit scared.
Like you want to bolt.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Like I feel uneasy.
Is that fear coming from the road itself, or do you think you're picking up on the anxiety of someone else?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't think the road's making me feel like that. It's beat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the road and stuff now. That's not. Yeah, I can just feel like. I just know that. Yeah, I can definitely feel that.
Grace, are you around here anywhere?
It's a very creepy stretch of road. Particularly, I've got my eyes open now, but driving along there with your eyes closed and listening to, it feels like you're flying for starters, but it just feels like you're drifting through space without any control. It's fucking terrifying. Deplete.
I've currently got goosebumps already.
Is that silent one for you?
Whether it's just the cold or not, I don't know.
So what I want you to do, coming back now, is just to gaze out through the window
Yeah.
and to let your eyes go slightly unfocused.
Just sort of stare off almost.
Yeah. See if you start to pick up on anything, any words that pop into your head. So it's almost like you're going into a slightly meditative state.
This road could go on forever.
Yeah. If there's anyone that needs a ride, we've got a spare seat in the back there. Please jump in.
Jump in. Sit right here.
The Ovilus just said lay. Carol?
Oh, that's the first name like that.
15.
15 again.
Had 15 twice. 15.
Do a bit more research on that.
Yeah.
I'm getting that tight kind of shiver across my shoulders again now.
Yeah, we're moving back into the same area
Yeah.
where we first spotted.
Yeah.
There are so many legends of hitchhiking ghosts, and they always seem to be in long, flowing white nightgowns of some form or other.
Yeah.
If you look it up on the internet, you'll find there's so many, and they all seem to have this same thing that they'll appear in the back seat in your rear view mirror
Yeah.
and then disappear at a certain point. So this is what we're not sure, whether this is just an urban legend. But the locals are very convinced. That man we ran into in the car park was pretty adamant.
Everyone talks about it here.
Yeah.
It's like they've bought into it so much.
So this is the next thing. Are they creating the entity? Because if you talk about something over and over, you actually create the energy and the legend. So what is it?
Well, there's a part, or there's a time period when stories become more than stories, and then legends become truth over a period of time. You know, Chinese whispers ends up turning into some type of fact.
So here we are, at the end of our investigation of Wilfred Barrett Drive and the phantom or phantoms that haunt it. Above all else, whilst learning the stories behind this roads and the lives that were lost along it, the confronting nature of the deaths, the compelling stories that stemmed from them, Josh, Little Dixon and myself noted that whilst travelling down this road, we all felt slithers and shivers of anxiety whilst heading down the exact same stretch of Wilfred Barrett Drive. However, unfortunately for this video, no apparitions were seen. But you cannot negate the stories straight away. Just because we didn't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Neither the K2s or the Catballs had enough action to give us any stern proof that there is in fact a haunting happening along Wilfred Barrett Drive. It is without a doubt a very creepy road, a terrifying road, a road that has had much death and trauma. It's evident that when you walk around here, something else is going on. There's something in the air here. It is very strange and very creepy. So we go back to the question. Is there something haunting this location? Are witnesses seeing something on this road that shouldn't be there, that has passed over, that should be long gone? Or is it just a creepy road with a creepy story? Thank you for joining us on this journey across Dixon Beach and Wilfred Barrett Drive. Make sure you join the club on Butterfield Premium if you haven't already. I'm absolutely positive that I will make it worth your while. The content that we will upload there will be absolutely fantastic. A brand new podcast as well, just for Butterfield Premium. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, not only will you be enjoying all those amazing offers, you will also be directly funding more of these investigations. Thank you very much for joining us on another episode of Devil's Advocate. My name's Isaac Butterfield. I don't really have a sign off for creepy videos, but goodbye.